Hardest thing to put down, Daisy. I don't know about you, if you ever had to put down an animal. Not easy, not easy. But then we got little Apollo from a shelter as well. But supposedly this wolf, for the next 2 years, wandered through that village and didn't terrorize, and was fed by the people in the town. And when he died, it says that they mourned his death and they buried him. Okay? I think it happened. Look how mesmerized. You know, look how quiet in the back the animals at this point in time. Not that they always have to be quiet, but there's a connection. There's a connection that clearly comes from creation. You know, and there's a number of connections, you know, that are essential as we come together this day and celebrate this feast of St. Francis. Another connection that I don't want to lose, you know, in terms of St. Francis, also comes from this understanding of creation. It's wonderful. It says, it's only in the second chapter of Genesis, God brought before Adam, because Eve's not here yet, right? God brought before Adam all the animals. And he brought all the animals before Adam for Adam to name them. What were they to be for Adam? It says it in the gospel, in the first reading. Anybody remember what it says? That he was looking for a what for Adam? A helpmate. Not just a helper, but a helpmate. You know? And of course it was animals. So animals are called to be helpmates. You know, they're instrumental in our world, instrumental in our environment. We know what happens when we mess it up, not only to the animals, but to the environment. So we're called to be those good stewards. But ultimately, it was not enough. And out of man, he took woman and the female. And clearly, the understanding in Genesis that comes out, it's going to come out clearly throughout all of Scripture, the importance of male and female. Okay? And the importance of each of them that nourishes in different ways. And I'll end with a story that I don't know if you've heard, but I think you're all aware that St. Francis not only started the Franciscans, right? That not only is within the Roman Catholic, but is within our Anglican Episcopal tradition as well. But he was one of the first to start a women's community. A women's community. A good friend, St. Clare. St. Clare. And you know, another Franciscan group of women that live in community and help. And as the story goes, when St. Francis died, or when St. Francis was dying, all the monks were around his bed. And supposedly there was one monk that nobody knew. And the monk was there with the hood over its head. Tradition says that nobody knew who it was, and when St. Francis died, that person disappeared. But it's understood amongst many Franciscans that it was St. Clare. Women were not allowed in the men's monastery. But she was there. They were spiritual companions, clearly. And they nurtured one another, the male and the female. There are many ways that we nurture one another. First and foremost, our God nurtures us. Our God created us, placed us on this earth, clearly, that was created for us to not dominate, because see, that's in the first chapter of Genesis. If you study clearly, the first chapter of Genesis talks about domination. It's a little different than the second chapter. The second chapter talks about stewardship. And what's happened is humanity has evolved a bit by that point in time. And they've understood that they're not called to dominate, but they're called to be good stewards. They're called to nurture as our God nurtures. I would ask us to consider that. Shortly, I'm going to, we blessed holy water this morning. What I'm going to do is, we've also blessed these little medallions of St. Francis. Little medallions of St. Francis that were donated by the place where Jane works, I'm forgetting the name now, Theater of the Sea, donated these little medallions of St. Francis. So they've been blessed. I am shortly going to walk throughout the congregation. You should have gotten, as you came in, the prayer of St. Francis. Does anybody not have a prayer of St. Francis? Please raise your hand if you do not. Everybody has a prayer of St. Francis? Oh, okay. Let me get you one. How many? 2, 3, 2.